Hello friends, this video on alternating currents part 27 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till part 26 before going ahead with part 27. So now that we have reached towards the end of the lesson and we have covered almost every detail about the different AC circuits, starting with pure resistive circuit, pure inductive, pure capacitive, and combination of all three of them, that is LCR circuits. It is time that we discuss a very important application of alternating currents, that is transformers. So while discussing transformers, we will basically also talk about what was the need of having alternating current over direct current. When we had direct current, what was the need of implementing alternating currents in our day-to-day life? What was the need of using alternating currents in power supplies? So meanwhile, we will also talk about the principle on the basis of which the transformers function, the working of the transformer, and the materials we choose to design a transformer. So let us start with what basically a transformer is. So what is a transformer? So as the name suggests, transformer transforms something. So what does it transform? It basically transforms voltage from one value to another. That means if you give some input voltage to a transformer, it transforms it either to a higher voltage or to a lower voltage depending upon our requirements. So basically the purpose of a transformer is to change the value of voltage from one value to another by making sure that the power at the input end is equal to the power at the output end. So the power will remain the same both at the input as well as the output, but the voltage will reduce or the voltage will increase depending upon our requirements. So we will just see how does it work and how does this quality of transformer of changing the voltage really helps us. So what is the principle behind the working of a transformer? It works on the principle of mutual induction. We studied about mutual induction in our previous lesson, right? So what it was basically that if we have two circuits, let us suppose if we have two inductors rather, let us suppose this is my first coil which is connected to a source, and this is a neighboring coil which I am calling as coil 2. So what happens? Let us suppose if some current flows through this coil 1, due to the change of current in this coil, the current will increase from 0 to some value, let us say. Since the current keeps changing alternately, because of the change in current, there will be a change in magnetic flux, and this change in magnetic flux will be experienced by the coil 2. So because of the change in magnetic flux in coil 2, there will be an induced EMF in coil 2, and that induced EMF will result in an induced current in coil 2. So that was the concept of mutual induction, right? So you will see that on the basis of this concept of mutual induction, the transformer also works. So we will see that in detail in the next few slides. But before that, we will just see how does a transformer look like and what is it made up of? What are the main constituents of a transformer? A transformer basically consists of a primary coil, a secondary coil, and a soft iron core. So what is a primary coil? It is nothing but several turns of wire over a piece of a soft iron core. So this is the soft iron core which you can see here. So this is my soft iron core. So over this soft iron core, you have n number of turns of a wire which act as the primary coil. So primary coil, as the name says, it is the first coil. That means it is the coil which we consider as the input end. So this coil is my input coil. Secondary coil is the one which again has n number of turns of some material, maybe copper wire or any other material. So this is my secondary coil where we receive the output from the transformer. So as I said, it will convert the voltage from one value to another. So from the input end we will supply some voltage, and from the output end the transformer will give back some voltage, which will be either a higher voltage than the input voltage or a lower voltage than the input voltage. So on what factor it depends, whether the output voltage will be higher or it will be lesser, that we will talk about when we discuss the working of the transformer. Now the question is, the material which we have taken here, which we call as the soft iron core. Why do we take soft iron core here? I mean, I can take any other material, right? But why especially am I taking a soft iron core here? That's because in our previous lessons, when we talked about magnetic materials, we talked about the different properties of different materials, right? We talked about something called hysteresis. So if you look at the hysteresis curve of a soft iron core, how does it look like? It looks somewhat like this. The hysteresis curve for a soft iron core is extremely thin, covering the minimum possible area. And we know that the lesser the area of a hysteresis loop, the lesser is the energy loss in the transformer. That means whatever energy is getting transferred from the primary coil to the secondary coil, there will be minimal loss if the hysteresis loop is if the area covered under the hysteresis loop is minimum. So soft iron core is a material for which the area of the hysteresis curve is extremely less, and that is why soft iron is chosen as an appropriate material for the core of the transformers. Sometimes people may say that if we really need a magnetic material, we can use a permanent magnet. But then we cannot use a permanent magnet, because for permanent magnet, the amount of loss which is involved is extremely high. So because of the huge amount of hysteresis loss, permanent magnet is not at all a suitable material to be used as transformer cores. So what is hysteresis loss? However, I have discussed all these things in detail, but still just for a quick review, it is the amount of loss which a magnetic material incurs during the cycle of magnetization. So when that material gets magnetized during the entire cycle of magnetization, the amount of energy that gets dissipated, that is known as hysteresis loss. So the greater the area of the hysteresis curve, the more is the loss. So for permanent magnets, the area is very huge. So they are not at all suitable for being used as in the transformer cores. So basically the transformer construction consists of three things. One is your primary coil, the second is the secondary coil, which acts as the output end, and the third is the soft iron core being used in the transformer because of its property of involving less hysteresis loss. So now, thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.